Hello student. As you know, I am going to discuss the current day-to-day GS economy area for civil service, state civil service, UGC, NET, JRF, the students who are opting economics optional for those students and other general competitive exam. You know, current economy always ask in every year in our different exam conducted by different organization for the selection of the candidate for different posts. If you are interested to understand what is in actual economics and how it is working, so that you can't no need to cram the concept, then these videos are very helpful for you. Otherwise, you are wasting your time if you go through these videos. If you are a serious candidate and you really like to learn the economy in real sense, because I am teaching economics optional also for UPSC, UGC, NET, JRF, Indian Economic Services, Reserve Bank of India. That's why I know how the theoretical aspect and how the theory and principle applicable on Indian economy. Practically they are applicable. A number of teachers will say there is no practical applications of theory and principles of economy, but practically they are applicable. Today I will discuss, as you know, on 17th August 2026, our rupee depreciated by 19 paisa. 19 paisa with respect of dollar. Generally, a number of students doesn't know what is the meaning of exchange rate. That's why I first of all discuss the meaning of exchange rate. What is the meaning of exchange rate? In layman language, and for those students who are unable to understand the technicalities of the concept, they should know that how much Indian rupee can purchase $1. Again I speak, how much Indian rupee can purchase $1 in international currency market, that is generally defined the exchange rate. For example, on 17 August 2025, $1 can be purchased 95 rupees 61 paisa. It means the exchange rate on 17 August 2026 was $1 is equal to 95.61 rupees. If you compare this exchange rate with respect of 16 August, then our rupee depreciated say 19 paisa with respect of dollar. Or you can say dollar appreciated 19 paisa with respect of Indian rupee. Further I say, it means in international market, in Indian currency, dollar became dearer and rupee became cheaper. Now point is clear. Now come in the theory. If you go through this theory, suppose I am represent here demand and supply of dollar. On x-axis, say demand and supply of dollar, and on y-axis I represent price of dollar in term of rupee. Price of dollar in term of rupee. And say this is the demand for dollar. What does it mean? If in term of rupee dollar is cheaper, our demand for dollar will increase. And if price of dollar with respect of rupee is increasing, our demand for dollar will decrease. That is why the demand curve of dollar always downward slope from left to right. From left to right, this is the theory and this is applicable. And second point which you have to understand clarity or clearly, why this demand for dollar determine in an economy. take the example of Indian society, why they are demanding the dollar. Think about that. Because our trading company have to import different product. If you take only one example, crude oil, petrol, diesel, CNG gas, LPG gas, if the demand of these products done by the society, they have to pay the payments of imported good. Only one example, that is petroleum product. In term of dollar, means our importer societies or importer companies or government have to pay their liabilities of import in dollar. That's why they will demand the dollar in the market. One point is clear. It means demand of dollar in India derive from our import. Or you can say demand of dollar is the function of import of India. Higher the demand for import, higher will be the demand for dollar. Lower the demand for import, lower will be the demand for dollar. If I say in a very simple word. Now you are clear. Second, supply of dollar always upward slope. This is supply of dollar. What does it mean? The supply of dollar from other country to India may be because of multiple causes. That is because of our export. If our export are increasing consistently, then the other countries trader who will purchase our exportable items, they have to pay us more dollar. And second point which you have to keep in mind very rationally, think fully. If our exportable price is increasing consistently in term of dollar, then Indian would like to export more goods. It means the supply curve of dollar always upward slope from left to right. Point is clear? Means the supply of dollar is the function of export of India. And if our price of exportable items are increasing, then Indian would like to export more goods and services, other capital goods in other countries. Where the demand and supply of dollar will intersect, that will determine the rate of exchange. It means OR is the rate of exchange. Say on 17 August, it was 16 August. Say it was around about how much? 19 paisa. 254, or you can say 95.42 rupees were equal to $1. On 16 August, our exchange rate was $1 is equal to 95 rupees 42 paisa. Now you are clear how this theory explain the exchange rate determination under floating currency, under flexible exchange rate, demand and supply of dollar, which is respectively determined by the Indian import and Indian export. This is the exchange rate, but due to multiple causes, our demand for dollar is increasing. What the causes are there, I would like to discuss with you one by one. Because of increasing demand of this dollar, I will discuss the factor later. First you understand. Now the demand of dollar say at OR exchange rate equal to RK, but the supply of dollar is RE. Demand of dollar RK, which is greater than supply of dollar RE, it began to create the pressure of rupee, means higher demand of dollar, less supply of dollar will increase the price of dollar in term of rupee, and hence on the date of 17 August our exchange rate increased up to RS, which was 95.61 rupees per dollar. Now you are clear how this demand is increasing. I will explain those factors which are responsible for this increasing demand so that you can easily understand how this exchange rate or value of Indian currency with respect of dollar is determined. There are multiple factors which are responsible for increasing demand of dollar if I explain one by one. First, in international market, due to Middle Asia crisis, the price of crude oil again increased up to $89 per barrel. Our demand for petrol diesel is inelastic in nature. What the meaning of inelastic in nature? Which demand can't be reduced, either price are decreasing or increasing. That is inelastic demand. If the crude oil price in international market increase $89 per barrel, it means the demand for dollar for importer automatically increase because of higher payment of the same quantity of crude oil we have to pay the more dollar. This increasing demand is responsible for this depreciation of Indian currency, or you can say appreciation of dollar. Second factor, early closure of the Reserve Bank of India FCNR deposit swap facility only up to 35 August. Our government facilitate foreign currency which is held by non-resident Indian to deposit in our banking institutions at a higher rate of interest. In this way, foreign currency, or you can say simply, dollar was coming in India, but prior the date was to close this scheme or facility 30 September 2026, but recently it changed to 31st August 2026 by the Reserve Bank of India. Because of it, there is no long-term capital inflow. Suddenly, it stopped the dollar inflow in India after the declaration of this policy. Again, the supply of dollar in India with respect of demand less. What happened? Price of dollar in term of rupee again to begin to increase. Third factor, strong dollar demand for import. We are not importing only on the petroleum product. We are also importing some other product, essential goods, which is necessary for the economy. That's why again the dollar demand in our economy is increasing. If the dollar demand is increasing, again that kinds of pressure will create and Indian rupee will depreciate, dollar will appreciate. Fourth factor, that is weak domestic equity market. Equity means what? Share of a company. If our company rate of return on stock is increasing, then definitely foreign with respect of other country. Think about that. Profit rate of our company with respect of other country is higher, then definitely foreign investors would like to invest in your company share. But due to Middle Asia problem, what happened? Our company performance or rate of return on equity or share is not according to our expectations due to uncertainty in international geopolitics. That's why foreign institutional investors and short-term investors are not interested to invest in India. That also decrease the inflow of dollar, again decrease the supply of dollar with respect of dollar demand and create the pressures on rupee. Again rupee is depreciated. Further, as I discussed, geopolitical uncertainty. As you know, recently America aggression on Iran is increasing day by day because his target is Hormuz Strait. He like to hold complete autonomy, complete power on this Strait of Hormuz. That is why he is pressurizing this Iran in a multiple way. That is creating geopolitical uncertainty in the international market. Second and last point, responsible for this more demand of dollar is that is underlying capital flow and trade pressures. As you know, despite in July our export growth rate is highest with respect of July 2025 and it is 20% higher growth rate. But our trade deficit during the July 2026 with respect of July 2025 increased up to $32 billion. Round about $7 billion is extra trade account deficit in our economy. That kinds of trade pressures also responsible for increasing demand of dollar, and in this way Indian currency is depreciating and dollar is appreciating. Now you can understand what are the positive effects. Theoretical aspect is this, but some extent it is applicable. What they are? Positive if you think our import will decline. Which kinds of import will decline? Unnecessary luxury, which is not essential for our economy, like cosmetics, like wine, like other durable goods, which is not necessary, comfortable luxury goods. That kinds of demand decline due to increasing price. As you know, the demand elasticity of these goods is generally higher and export will increase. Why export will increase? Because rupee is cheaper. With respect of rupee, our exportable item in international market is decreasing. Decreasing price of exportable automatically motivate the importers to import more from India. Trade deficit, if that kinds of happening, I am talking only for those goods which are more elastic in nature, not essential goods like petrol, like capital goods, like other essential goods. That will definitely decrease the trade account deficit. As you know, our foreign exchange reserve also hold more dollar, and increasing price of dollar automatically increase the foreign exchange reserve. As you can see yesterday, foreign exchange reserve day before yesterday, our foreign exchange reserve position was $712.6 billion, which is higher with respect of July 2026. And what are the negative effects? Terms of trade. Generally, a number of students doesn't know what is the meaning of terms of trade, but you should know. Terms of trade means price of export upon price of import. Terms of trade generally we define price of export upon price of import. If our price of export are decreasing, price of import are increasing, terms of trade will deteriorate. That will definitely adversely affect the Indian economy. Second, import cost will increase. As you know, our import price if is increasing, I quote you petrol import liability or cost after increasing petrol price in international market up to $89.89 per barrel, our cost of import increase. That burden, because maximum debt in term of foreign currency like dollar, that will automatically increase the debt burden because of price of per dollar in rupee increasing in our economy. International trade community confidence, as I quote, one cause that inflow of capital or dollar in capital market is decreasing. Why? Because of international trade community confidence is decreasing due to more volatility in our rupee. That is also responsible for that kinds of problem in our economy. Now, student, you have understand today why the depreciation or appreciation of any currency can unstabilize the economy. That's why there should be the stability in exchange rate. And as you know, our Reserve Bank of India manage the exchange rate through which market stabilization system by selling and purchasing of dollar in international currency market. It equalize in the demand and supply of dollar, and in this way stabilize If there is the more fluctuations, definitely RBI will intervene in the international foreign currency market for the stability of dollar. Today, I have discussed a lot of things about the exchange rate of India. Recently, 17 August, that kinds of conditions are happening, and this is very important issue for your pre as well as mains student. If you are interested these kinds of video, you should subscribe our videos, you should listen our lecture. You can also come on online classes if you are interested in offline classes, as my batch is running in S17 second floor Bergman Central Mall near Mukherjee Nagar, Nehru, Bihar. And you can contact me for any query, any kinds of questions if you are faced difficulty in economics. That kinds of difficulty can be resolved only by of the discussions with a number of students. Maybe underestimate that kinds of lecture. But when they go and they face the preliminary exam, mains exam, as well as interview, they will definitely realize that they have learned a lot of things in our lecture which they can't learn with the help of book or other YouTube channels which you are going go through. The teachers who are not educated in economics, generally they are performing in economy, GS economy. If they doesn't know optional knowledge, definitely there will be some kind of deficiency which you can't realize in initial stage. But when you begin to face the interview, you definitely realize what is the quality difference in the teaching content and exact explanations of the problem of Indian economy. Thank you, student. You are again most welcome in next issue. Problem came in the Hindu newspaper. This is I read in today newspaper and I discuss it. Thank you.